Whoa, here we go. Awestruck's Comic Podcast. Exhausting week. Doing our best. We're finishing up, finishing out work. Christmas coming.
Yeah. I spent
Freight
the
train.
morning reading comics. Mark was like, Rob, these are the comics we want to read. I'm like, I've read one of them.
He texts me
And
like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, keep reading.
I got up at
See you
7
at
this
8 in the
morning.
morning. There you go.
Yeah, I got up at 7, had a nice cup of coffee, laid down on the couch, started reading.
That's my favorite thing of the week. I can't figure out what I'm pointing to. We'll get to it.
You're pointing to a man's ass, but
We'll get
it's
to it.
cool.
Boop,
No, it's
boop.
cool.
I
That was
can't.
a
I can't
great.
do it.
You want to start with that book? You have to start with that book because it's
No.
behind you.
I can't. No, I have to go in order of this. So let me screen share All Star Comics podcast, and I have to go in the order. 119 pictures I screenshot. So
All
yeah,
right.
I need to go in the exact order, which is listed, very regimented. So, but it's reviews day. We'll figure out what day it's going to come out. I don't know. It's a tough one, tough week,
Listen, the people
but
listening have already figured out what day it is. So,
it's reviews day. We're going to put out reviews. Here we go. I'm going to screen share it. Here it is. Number one.
all
Number
right.
one. Let me full screen it, and let me see if I can make us bigger. I don't know if this really makes a difference in that. I'll do it. I'll see. We shall see. Okay, so here we go. Issue three. A little slower of a issue.
hmm
Abso-Batman. Dragata Batman. Snyder. Cover really cool. There is a little. I can't exactly tell. Almost looks like rebar, right? I hate rebar, but
Yeah, you were saying last week.
mm, rebar is no
We
good. No, it's no
went
good.
on a whole diatribe about it.
Ugh, bleh.
Rebarb. You know what? You've actually inspired me to create a character called Rebarb. It's kind of like the thing, the
Surprising.
little things of metal.
Yeah,
Tur- tur-
surprising that's not a thing.
And it will be now. Rebarb showing up in the Maniacs next year.
Yeah, no good. So, but this I want to talk about economy of basically like economy of storytelling. Later on, we know a book we've already talked about. I want to complain about where nothing happens and there's like 3 panels per page and just nothing's going on, and it could be four pages. We figured out that whole book later on. We'll speak about. I'll be mad about.
Right.
It could be 4 pages long, and this could be 4 pages long. And it's one page. It's like 16 panels in one page.
Yes.
And we talked about how that Snyder's been talking about this, where he'll put a plot in and he gets it back. He's like, okay. So then he has to kind of cut up or take dialogue out or take bits and pieces out or add stuff in. And I imagine with the kaboom there, that I guess Dragata might even be doing some partial lettering inside of it, the thooms up top. Again, just a lot of fun. You didn't see a lot of Batman in this. You saw a lot of Batman vehicle in this. You saw a lot of which this uh what would we call this? I guess it's a Batmobile, right? But it's a Batmobile, but it's almost like a tank. It's similar to the Tumbler. It's similar
Right. It's like
to
the
the
bat.
cult version of the Batmobile. Um, but yeah, these black mask people are very, very frightening. But this was kind of the page with nothing. Yeah, yeah, you could see. So I guess that all this sound effects lettering. That's it. I imagine
Yeah.
that's
We
a
were wondering if
Dragata
this was Dragoda
situation.
or the letterer.
Yeah, I think it's Dragota. Like
Probably the
that
letterer,
plot.
but it fits very good in it. I love the dump truck to bat dump truck. It's
Yeah, yeah.
it's
But
so
to the
it's so smart, this book. It's doing a really good job. I know not a lot happens, but like they're telling it in a very cinematic way, but it's staying honest to comics.
yeah,
Like
I love it.
it's
I
almost
think it's so good.
storyboarding at points. This looks almost like a storybook, like a storyboard it like you could see this in a movie.
Yeah, I just feel that this is it's just very singular in the like full vision to the point where I know the lettering, either it's Dragata's handwriting or whatever, and he gave them the letter like what it is. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I think it's organic lettering on the page. If there's still pages, I'm not sure, but the crack up there, the tap tap,
Yeah,
this
the
was
tap
kind of
tap
tough.
looks like that could be. It looks like it could be Dragata because you almost look like the speed
Yeah,
lines
yeah, they're inking
almost
in
go through
over.
it. Yeah,
Uh, yeah, that's Bibbo. So that I thought was pretty nuts too.
yeah. Bevo from He's we always thought he was kind of a Popeye analog in the Superman comics during the
Mhm.
Triangle era, but he's not. He's actually someone else, and I kind of forget at the moment. I think Dan Jurgens talked or Ordway. I think he's an Ordway creation, but he's based off of another character who's probably equally as old as Popeye, which Popeye predates comic books officially.
Right, 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 right.
You know what's funny is Popeye started in a comic. I think it was called Castor Oil. Castor Oil was the main character, and he had a sister Olive Oil, and Popeye was like the sailor they hired, and he just like took over the book. Yeah, he took over the comic strip.
Hmm.
And it's funny, I've never tried castor oil, but growing up, Bugs Bunny and Tom and Jerry they always had these cartoons where like you forced your kid to drink castor oil when they were sick
Right,
or
right.
something.
It was a punishment. It was like, yeah, you have to, if you have
Drink
this,
this.
it'll,
Like I have no idea what castor oil is.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Just
Yeah,
funny.
that's frightening. Yeah, it's not something that
So
we would think
spiraling
about.
back, uh Bibbo, he may or may not kill him. We don't know what's going on there. But yeah, this
16.
was pretty brutal. Very Greek style wrestling here in the Speedos.
Yeah, I didn't do the two previous pages where he's literally just like breaking pieces of his arm. There's some pretty
Yeah,
gross stuff where you can see how like well the twist up there is pretty bad, but I think when he messes his arm up and he puts his arm up, it's like this. It's
yeah.
horrible.
You can see in the
Ah,
one panel, the more horizontal panel, you can see the arms twisted. You can see
ah,
it's red on the bottom. So
yeah.
yeah, this is pretty brutal stuff. Good. And the guy's like, I'm a pacifist, and then he's like choking the dude out.
Well, it's interesting. You don't. I like the concept of why he's explaining why his mask is there. It's protecting himself as a business. So which the anonymity of that makes sense. So,
Hmm?
uh, yeah.
But
Overall,
but good.
really good. A little bit more of a rest of an issue than anything else.
Yeah, but great ending though. Great
Mhm.
like surprise kind of ending.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to put it through and
That's
spoil
fine.
it. Um, so here's our weekly. All right, almost only one more issue of this, which I think
Yeah,
I'm okay with.
I don't know.
But
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying Weekly Superman. Like it's just nice to get it so often.
yeah, I just really wish that last issue we didn't have that fill in because I just feel like this is immediately straight back to this newer style, the Clayton Henry newer style, really, really solid. I like this Metamorpho quite a bit. Um, and yeah, I just like that.
The middle
So
panels here look a little Phil Noto-ish.
yeah, the action's really good.
Yeah, oh
A
no,
lot of
it's
good
good.
lines.
And I like the idea of like the Phantom Projector guns. Like they're just going around shooting all the Phantom Zone villains, prisoners with a gun that just sent them right back. Like that's cool. This I love. I love the idea of Aquaman being able to talk to alien fish. Like you go to an alien
Mhm.
world and yeah, he's enough of a cephalopod or like an octopus squid type creature. You know, the cephalopod DNA is like different from like most DNA of other animals. And some people were trying to start like a conspiracy theory that octopuses and cephalopods were aliens.
Mm.
Um, and they're really that different of a creature that you could almost think that they would be. They're not because we know where their DNA started from and the creatures they started from. I mean,
That
it's
we
not to
know
say
of
that we
that
know of. I mean, they're still
scientists might move that around.
yeah, but it's just funny. Like I remember there was an episode of Super Friends, I think, where they went to like Oz and Aquaman was like under the water and he could talk to the weird Oz fish, like they were different than regular fish.
So
So
that's
yeah, cool.
continual. Yeah, so that's continual. I wonder if this is the first appearance of like this all-in Aquaman because I don't really remember where Aquaman is right now. I don't remember. I want to say he might have been in some of the Brave and Bold backups or whatever, but again, that book is just a blind to me because of the Simone DeMeo like neon covers that just don't. They feel exactly the same. They feel exactly the same, and I can't. I don't know what the use of that book is. It makes me insane. Insane.
Insane.
It should just be like a DC Presents book or DC Showcase. It should be DC Show. There you go. Because most of the time when you look at it, there's a couple characters in it, and Batman is in, of course, one or two. But it should be Red Hood. There should just be it should just be feature. From that.
Well, like we had said before, like Action the Detective should be the slightly oversized monthly comics
Mm,
or biweekly. I wouldn't mind those two books being biweekly, but biweekly in the way that like there's enough backups that are good, but also a chance for new people to try out. There's no better place to try out than Action the Detective, I think. I don't know. I've
yeah.
never been a fan of like Brave and the Bold or Showcase. It's like stick with the action detective. It's literally like the name. Like I'm surprised DC Comics wasn't called AC Comics because action was so much more important than detective.
And it's sold more for longer. Is that
Yes,
right? In the beginning, in the front end?
for probably for the first 50, 60 years.
Hmm.
I think action always sold better than detective
Wow.
up until the Frank Miller Batman Renaissance.
Right, right, right. I
That's when
put this
Batman kind of took over.
I put this page in for you because I know that you love Monel, and I think that this is actually a really good Monel concept and portrayal. I think this is
Yes,
great. I
it
think this
is. It's
little
really
anger
good.
is really good, and I like him fading in and out of the fans. I think that's really good. In fact, Matt Herm's coloring just perfect, perfect,
Yeah,
perfect.
the
So,
first panel is really great. Superman having his arm on his shoulder, and it kind of showcases the fact that like when they created Monel, he's like, let's just do the opposite. Like I didn't know about Monel when I was a kid, but I had a fascination with my Superman coloring books, where I just
mm,
love coloring Superman differently. And the first thing I did was reverse the colors, which
mm.
is what Monel is. It's a reversal of the Superman primary colors. Um, and I used to love creating Superman archetype. Before He-Man came along, I was all about Super Friends was like everything in the world to me. So like having a Superman coloring books was always like this guy will be Super Guy, this guy will be Wonder Man, and this guy will be Thunder Man. Like I just kept creating different Superman archetypes
Right.
as a kid.
Yeah, everything. I like the Superman head. I just seem to have a problem. The solicits this week for Superman. I don't know if I like Dan Moore's Superman's head. I feel like this looks like Superman. I feel like Dan Moore's Superman's head doesn't look like Superman. I
Hmm.
never thought it through World's Finest. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. It's not as universal for
I'll
me.
have to I'll have to take a second look at that.
I'll put it in. Put it right down below. Be right down below. And this is a newer character, or this is the same. This is one of the characters that's already in there.
I think it's been the bad guy all along, right?
I think so. Just a different costume.
Zadu.
Zadu. I'll take it. Endgame. We love that title. Endgame.
Huh.
And I just wanted to put in the Skylar Partridge again. I kind of can't wait to read this all together. I feel like this is going to read so well all together. Just because it's just a little too decompressed for it, but that's okay. I mean, again, I really feel like this is just going to be like amazing altogether. And even with the fill-ins, that's the thing is the difference between this book and the main feature is the same book. Is I just think that the coloring, I think that that the artist, the fill-in artist they had on this is so similar. The Skylar Partridge to have in Mega Hetrick and the Skylar Partridge is so similar, it's going to not feel like anything else. The coloring consistent. I just feel like that other book however they collect it, I'm not really sure. But yeah, to be concluded, really good. So yeah, that
Very
was
good.
again a super solid issue. This is kind of the 12-week run I guess they're having, and then it's going to go to either bi-monthly or monthly or
Who do
bi-weekly
they
or
who
monthly.
do they have lined up for the first issue after
I want to say it's
like
John
who
Ridley. Does that sound right? John
could
Ridley
be
for 6 months or something like that. They're
six
going back to
months?
this All Stars. I don't remember. I didn't look it up. But
Like
I
we
just
think that Dan Slott's gonna take over. Dan
there's
Slott was
nothing
on
solicited and there's been no
no.
official press release of that.
He
So
was on Kevin Smith's podcast this week. And he did say,
good.
he can't talk about what he's working on.
Uh-huh.
Great. Actually, it's really good interview because he tells some good funny anecdotes and Spider-Man stories he
Hmm.
wasn't allowed to tell and interactions. I know some
Surprising.
people hate Dan Slott.
He was allowed to do a lot with Spider-Man, so I'm
Yeah.
surprised that he couldn't do stuff. I
Yeah.
guess if you know, I mean, again, that's a bigger risk. We'll go into when we talked about the non-Spider-Man news this week of having another relaunch of Spider-Man, and it's like, okay, we're gonna have another number one for what? Superior Spider-Man being the biggest departure, and that was like 2-3 years. It was a longer while.
He got death threats for that and actually had to have security at signings.
Oh my
Marvel
God,
had to assign security. So
come
if you
on,
think about
man!
relaunches for
Like
Spider-Man,
you figure that they would never put it back. Come on now, we know that. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's the
we knew
thing is
that.
that yeah, but it's like people got to just get over it. You think they're never going to put a character back? Come on,
So real quick,
come on
off the
now,
top of our heads, okay, John Byrne got the first volume two of Spider-Man. Then they went back to regular Spider-Man, right?
Superman. Wait, John
Oh
Byrne.
no, I'm talking about Spider-Man. John Byrne came in, did chapter one, and then
Right.
they stopped printing Amazing Spider-Man volume one, renumbered it to volume two. This is before
Yeah.
Ultimate
Oh, it's
Spider-Man.
too bad. What a bad cover too. That was terrible.
Yes. So you got the John Byrne relaunch. We didn't get a relaunch with Brand New Day, right?
No.
And Straczynski's run was a continuation of the John Byrne run, correct?
I think so.
Because that was like in the 30s, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got the relaunch for
29. Yeah, I
Superior
think that's right.
Spider-Man.
Hmm.
Then you got the relaunch when he came back from Superior Spider-Man, right? You had a relaunch for Marvel Now.
Hmm.
You had a relaunch for when he came back rich. Spider-Man Peter Parker had money all of a sudden. He was like a
Right.
billionaire. Well, then you had the Spencer relaunch. Then you had the Zeb Wells relaunch.
Hmm.
Now we're getting the Joe Kelly relaunch. That's
Right.
at least eight.
Yeah, I'll
And
have to
we're
put
not
them in
even,
the timeline. I'll have to
that's
put
no
them in.
research. That's just me off the top of my head.
We'll see. We'll see.
There
I'm putting
might be
corrections
more.
department. There might be more. I'll yeah, I guess my problem is that I I just feel like every time they do it, it makes it less special. It's like when they bring characters back to life and they keep like they kill them, bring them back
Right,
to
right.
life. Like Norman Osborn's been dead and alive like so many times. It's just
That's my one opinion. And
exhausting.
I talked to Todd Zago, who I love Todd Zago. I said, that's the one thing I wouldn't have done. I would never brought back Norman Osborn. I would have upped Harry Osborn to the main villain,
Hmm.
which
Sure.
which McFarlane came up with that idea. That wasn't my idea. That was something I heard McFarlane say because he wanted to do it in Eject the Spider-Man. He's like, oh, what a great idea! Because Harry Osborn is Peter's best friend. He knows his identity. He assumes his father's company. He's still got mental problems. And I'm like, damn it, McFarlane. That idea is so much better than you could ever write. You
Hmm.
know.
Right.
Um. So spiraling back, we think Dan Slott's going to write Superman.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope they get it. They get somebody. I don't know who should draw it, but yeah, hopefully they'll, put Clayton. I mean, listen, man, put Clayton Henry on. I don't know. I think that's a good, solid. Just I like the barrel chested, how big the chest is, but it's not like Kurt Swan throwback per se. But it's just good. I
Who?
really like his Spider-Man. Spider-Man. I really like his Superman. I don't know exactly who you would do on that, but
All right.
um yeah, so this again, very solid. I like this logo a lot too. Look how strong that is, and the choice
It's
of
cool because
coloring
it's like
there.
Batman Year One, Batman, and then the
Yeah,
Robin's just all yellow underneath of it, like the target. Robin, the human target.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Um, and you could see that at a comic store. Like Eric Larson and a lot of people talk about this. The One of the things that stand out at a comic store is obviously the image, but also the logo. People got to see that logo and like, look, there's the book I need.
yeah,
So having a good logo, super important. We don't talk
yeah.
about that enough.
I wonder if Somni did that logo. I wonder if he did, because I know he designs a lot of different things. Again, same thing here. I'm not sure if this is his lettering in organically too. We think he does paper. Is that right? Or we think Somni
I
does
think I
paper.
think you're correct.
This I thought actually I was confused when this scene first happened because I thought I was like, is this a Matches Malone situation? And it was not. So this
No,
is like one of the gangsters there who's almost doing. And I almost feel like Batman is like jealous. I feel like Bruce is jealous of the situation of like him infiltrating Benghazi. He's actually mad about it. Um, and I also think it's interesting to have like obsessed Bruce Wayne here and how mad Alfred's getting, you know?
yeah,
And I think like I zoomed in on that. Look at that. The circus boy. Like we have to talk about the boy. What about the boy? I'm thinking about Tommy, the Who. But yeah, I just think it's pretty interesting. And then when they do go visit him, I don't think I put it in there. When they do go visit him upstairs, he's just kind of like a kid. He's just watching TV, and
yeah,
I think they goes to spy on him, and then when he shuts the door and locks it, I think it's pretty funny.
yes. That's a big to do in this household. It's like, all
That's
right,
a big
let me
to
go
do
talk to my
here.
daughter. Okay,
Correct.
I walk out, lock. Like,
Turn
why are
the
you locking on
music
the
up.
door for?
Turn the music up. Can't
You
hear
don't have to lock. The door doesn't have to be locked
you.
100% of the time. I put tape
No,
over the
I
lock
know.
one time. The one time we got so pissed, we actually took the door off the handle of the one.
Oh wow, that's a good
Yeah.
one. Wow,
Yes. And
extreme.
and then like I kind of lost that door handle. I don't know where it is amongst my stuff. So we bought a new door handle that like doesn't really lock. So we're like, we'll show you.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome.
Good. But you know what's funny is like just dealing with the kid. I just had a point. Um, he's just a kid. He's just a kid, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. And I love that Bruce Wayne's like, well, when I was a kid, I was doing this and doing that. It's like,
Right.
yeah, you saw your parents get murdered and you had a plan. You're there's something wrong with you actually. That you're so obsessed over this. Robin's the kid who heals naturally. Kids normally bounce back pretty good off of after the younger you are, the easier it is to bounce back. Um, so it's funny that Bruce Wayne's is like, what's wrong with this kid? Why is he, acting normal? He should be obsessed and studying detectives and traveling around like he should be doing what I did. I forget. And Alfred had a good comeback, but I forget it at the moment.
Yeah, there's I like that. I like that Robin like can't help himself, so they could kill that circus couple. He can't help himself but jump down. He's
Yeah.
all like indignant, but still, I think it's a kind of a cool motion too. And this feels much more like the firepower action, right? Where the action's happening, but you're not even paying attention to the action. Like someone gets kicked in the face, or you barely see it because
Mhm.
you're like concentrating on like his upsetted face. Just great, just really really good. This would be a real good sit down or a real good I was at Barnes Noble last and I was looking at the All Star Superman like $10 one, and that one does not benefit from it being smaller because it's so intricate. But this probably would be okay as a $10 one of the compact DC compact, because I think that the Somni can shrink down a little bit. It won't
Yeah,
be as intricate, but versus All Star, I want as big as possible.
it's true.
I could
The absolute
I have the
version,
absolute one. Yeah, I own that.
Absolute All Star is a phenomenal book. I actually want to go grab two, one for each of my daughters, actually, for something.
Yeah. But consistent with the with this like lettering and the sound effects and everything. Look at that stomp. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell if that's if that's the lettering or not. This was really, again, this that was frightening. I thought, I mean, basically his leg could get ripped right off. That's
Oh
horrible.
yeah,
So the danger here was pretty intense. And then yeah, that's what I thought. It was funny. They did the snick, but the eyes out, so it's not snick like snickety snick. Like it's just
right, right.
literally like, so it's literally like where the eye could be is where the cable is ripped off. So that's fine. But I hate this. I hate this. I don't like that. But really good. Really scary. I think that, yeah, this is just ridiculous. This artwork is just ridiculous. The danger is really there. The colorings, is just really, really good. All the lettering and the lettering inserts. So like that Batman. So like the Cham might be
The Cham
uh
looks drawn, but the Batman looks
right.
placed.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. You did it. You did it, buddy. To be continued. Oh, I also hate that font. What is that? Was that Helvetica New down there? No.
Yeah,
Thumbs
that's
down.
kind of crappy.
That's no good. No good.
Maybe you know what? It would have been better to not have that.
I think
Can we
you have
just
to end it because then it's going to go right into like a preview or something like, what am I reading? Metamorpho, because there's a Metamorpho preview this week. So I think it should have been something because there's no letters pages anymore. You're right. It could be nothing.
I think
Um,
nothing would have been more dramatic. Or you could have pulled a Hickman and the next page just be blank,
no,
all
don't
black
do that.
page.
Don't do that either. Oh, that I forgot to put. Oh, I think I forgot to put the New Gods
You
cover
put
up.
the
Oh
cover in.
boy. Oh my gosh.
Is
Slipping,
this
bro.
your is this your book of the week? You've been waiting for this book. You've been dying
Uh,
for this book, dude.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot going. There's a lot going on. So you have a 4-page Jorge Fornes lore
Hmm.
situation up front. Okay, nice,
It's
very
good for
nice.
us. It's not good for new readers.
No,
Like I enjoyed it. I
uh,
enjoy the bigness of the scope of the story. You and I are very familiar with Jack Kirby and all things Jack Kirby.
mhm.
I love all the lore, the source wall. It's
But
all
maybe
really
maybe New Gods is not supposed to be. Maybe it's just like it's just known. You got to do some work on it. It's not going to be accessible at all. This is a very much similar to like a J.H. Williams III. This felt very J.H. Williams III in here. I thought this was pretty fantastic.
yes.
And all of this, like
That is intricate.
this right here, this top thing that feels much like Dawn Runner, which you still have to read, which this feels really, really large in world building. That's the way Dawn Runner felt,
It
but
feels
the
very
page design.
heavy metalish.
I don't know who this guy. Again, this
Like
guy's very new.
I'd expect Druna to show up on that first top of that.
Right, right. Just nuts. This we've seen with the preview, but more so he has that. I've never seen him draw stuff like this. He's only done a little bit of domestic stuff in here, so
Do you know how hard it is to draw this page?
I don't know.
Like like drawing a woman from outside of a room while closing the door. Your shadow's on the door. She's laying on the couch. Her arms
Mhm.
hanging off. There's bureaus in the background. Things hanging on the window.
Her
Books
big
on the
arm. Look at
shelves.
that. Look at that. Look at her muscular arm because he has to draw Big
Yes,
Barda. So he has to draw a
it's
very
big Barter.
muscular
You
woman.
still know she's a very large woman.
Awesome.
Holy, look the panel directly above it with where he's putting the diaper in the trash can. We all know what that's like.
Mhm.
You know, like this is a This is
Yeah,
an
the body
incredible
language of
page.
that too is like get away,
Yes, it
get a
is.
get
Really
this
good body
smell
language.
away from me. Um, yeah, and I imagine that also like that's really fun. Like even and I guess that's probably him writing in that sigh, right?
Yeah,
Even that, and that kind of goes back to the Mr. Miracle miniseries where the motion lines of him moving the carrot, uh, was that Dark Side and the carrot. So
right.
this felt a very good natural extension of that to a certain level. This felt
Yes.
very much like that, which I think is correct. So you're having this continuity of bearded Mr. Miracle, parent Mr. Miracle, but again, nothing here makes sense. On like, hey, here's a ridiculous thing I have to do. Okay, so you just have to deal with. It. I'll come back. I have to go, but that's okay because you can escape from me. I'm telling you to escape. You get this many
Yeah.
days. I'm telling you the plot on issue 1. I think this is 12. I want to say. I'm telling you the plot issue 1. Oh, by the way, I'm really ugly. By the way, you forgot, as I have my mother box, which basically was an iPhone. It was an iPhone in the 70s. It was pretty great. I don't look like
Ping,
this. I look like this.
ping.
Remember,
Yeah.
I look like
Brutal,
this.
dude. That was
Forget.
great.
Yeah. So this, I would say this is, and then again, this is could be a slight flash forward. The last couple of pages, I kind of wanted to talk about, but I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna like let the more of the information come in. But yeah, I mean, listen, I told you about this guy. I told you about this team, and correct. Yeah, they did exactly as I wanted it. Very very happy about that. I put this in for you because I didn't really know what Marvel stuff you're going to read. This I am not sure yet about the Greg Weisman. I don't know. To me, I can't. Oh, there's a Bagley. I
Which is
guess
cool.
Bagley inking himself. You know,
Yeah.
not in the book. I don't know what those weapons are. Basically, they are fighting Electros in the book. I think this artwork's pretty good. There's Kong. I think that was pretty.
Yeah. Typically this book was a Humberto Ramos comic. So
Yeah,
this is the fill-in guy. I don't think Ramos is leaving. I hope he's there for the next issue.
I don't think so.
And I'll
Yeah, I
and
think
I'll
he
tell you
is.
why at the end. Um, I like this book. It's just a regular, solid Spider-Man book. It's always the same. It's always good. It's like reading Spider-Man like a Michelini type of level. You have a certain amount of characters. You like them, you know them. It moves. It's not throwing anything at you crazy. They save all the crazy stuff for amazing, but
Mhm.
this is just good. It's like good Michelini
Yeah,
or Michael Liney, Michael Line,
I don't know. I
Michelin.
think I think I cut this by accident. I think I didn't cut the whole page. But like I just don't understand what this was about. It's like they literally are there talking to like, oh yeah, we're just not I'm not dating you. They have like a double date, but neither of them want to date the people that they're with. And also
Right.
really weird later on they kind of meet up back up with them. And listen, does anyone notice? I don't think I had that page. Do they notice the people that they had the non-dates with? That all of a sudden Spider-Man and Miles Morales Spider-Man, which I guess they don't call him Spider-Man. Do they call him Spider-Man?
Hey, they
Just
call him
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
again. So Spider-Man show up. They happen to be the exact same frame and height and voices of Peter Parker. This is where I feel like it comic books and movies just are dumb. That's why I like the way that I think the Flash had changed his voice. The Flash in the television show when he was up on the
Listen,
roof, right? Wasn't he
when
moving his
you
head real fast and doing a thing? Because you can't say like you seem like the exact same body frame and voice as Barry Allen. I can actually see your face and you're Barry Allen clearly.
all
You
right
know.
to no prize this stuff for you.
Hmm.
Flash can always like kind of slightly vibrate. So they don't say it. Maybe they said it once, and you just assume for the rest of your life.
Right.
When you see Spider-Man fully, like you don't like maybe they're changing their voices. It's off the bat, it's muffled from the mask already.
Hmm.
Um, can you tell your daughters apart when if one were to pick up the phone, or do you got to
Yeah.
wait for them to say a certain thing, and then you're like, oh, this one's
No, I agree.
daughter
Yeah.
X.
Yeah. It's right.
You
But I
ever run
even
it?
I
See,
even think I think like if I saw them in like if I was just with them and then they're in a costume or something, I just feel like that would be the case, you know.
um, the thing is, at UPS, everyone wears uniforms. So sometimes I'll run into work friends outside of work, and it takes me a second to recognize them because they're not in the same uniform I see them in every day.
Mm.
You know, or so that's what I think. That's part of it. You're not looking at them thinking, "Who are they?" Are they my friends? You're not looking at them like that. So
Mhm.
the no prizes, you're not going to recognize them. Yeah, their frames are similar, but you know how many people have the same frames? You know, If Tom Holland walked up here in full costume and Mike Storniolo was in full costume, could you tell who's who?
That's
Would
true.
you ever know that was Mike Storniolo?
Right. Tiny. Yeah.
Tiny.
Uh, well, that's
I
not
don't
my
know.
fault.
Listen, it's very. Listen, we
Right.
all think we're smarter than we are. We
I
all
hope
think
I
like,
am.
oh, I could tell Clark Kent without glasses, except like,
See
you
that one?
probably
She's
can't.
got a lot of curly hair up top. See, that's
That's
totally
right.
different than
That's right.
Superman.
He's got the pube
Uh,
head.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't care about these gods characters. I didn't care. I couldn't finish it. I never finished Gods, which was the Hickman miniseries where like let me create a bunch of new characters you won't care
You
about.
don't need to. All you need to know is that she,
Oh my Lord.
worked with Doctor Strange, so she can tell all
Yeah.
magic. Go back a page though. So my only thing about this is I don't know if Ramos is drawing the next issue. I really hope he is
Mm,
because next issue is going to have the lizard.
that's right.
And
Yeah. No, yeah.
I've always wanted to see Ramos, and I've seen Ramos draw lizard, but like never in a full story. When he was doing Peter Parker Spider Man, there was a storyline coming up with Lizard. Paul Jenkins was writing it. I was so excited for it, and then like it was a fill-in series.
The Damien
I'm
Scott did
like,
that.
yes,
That's
that's
right.
right. Yeah. So it's still cool to see Damon Scott draw Lizard, but like I was really looking forward to Lizard. Just so people know, I'm a fan of the Lizard. It was like one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. From the cartoon from the 60s that we saw in the 80s to McFarlane drawing them, back in the 90s to now.
Yeah. Well, McFarlane expanded the snout. That's what made it different. You know what I mean? That was a bigger thing.
I was talking to the Ramitas at a show one time, John Ramita Senior and Junior, and
And Junior too.
Senior and right. He's not John Romita the third. He was like Vinny, I think.
Mm.
So anyway, they're both doing sketches for me. Actually, all three of them are doing sketches for me. Vinny Romita at like 5 years old drew me Rockman, just like a circle with some hands. Really cute. But I got Romita Senior and Junior to each draw me a picture of the lizard. And John Romita Senior is like, "Do you want him like with the teeth and stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, I always wanted to draw lizard like this. Me and Mary Severin would talk about it, but Ditko drew him, like a lizard. So we always drew him like a lizard. And then McFarlane comes along and draws him like an alligator. He's like, this is what we all wanted to do.
Right, right, right,
It's
right.
just funny. Like, you're Romita Sr. You could probably have done whatever you wanted to. You're the house style of Spider Man. People draw
Yeah,
Spider Man like you for 30 years.
yeah. Ramita Senior, I have like a weird, disdain for not only because I just know so many paste ups. I've seen so many things that he's altered that I don't agree with. Like he altered like one of the Captain Marvel covers where he's like jumping into Ramita face, and the original looks not too much different than that. But if you credit that, or if that's on a trade or something like that, it's not it. Or I want to say the Kill Raven is a Cockrum. The first appearance of Kill Raven, I want to say it's Cockrum figure drawing and face drawing, and he didn't like it, so I believe he pasted over that too. So,
Are you ready to take your shot? Take your shot.
what?
The Liefeld cover, the New Mutants 85.
Oh gosh, yeah. Do you
Liefeld
have a
and
copy of that? You have a copy or
of the
no?
original?
There's no.
No,
Yeah.
there's no original. The original cover, Liefeld penciled it, McFarlane inked it. Romita didn't like the way Odin's face looked. It was New Mutants 85.
Mm.
Romita did not like the way the face looked, so he whited it out and then redrew Odin's face. No one's seen the original. I mean, the original doesn't. You can't peel off the white out. You'll ruin the page.
Right.
McFarlane and Liefeld have both tried. They looked at it and they're like, we just can't do it. Um, I can send you a scan of it just to show you. What's cool about the original art to this book is the UPC box art has like a silhouetted shadow of Cable, which
Mm.
technically would have been the first appearance of Cable in New Mutants 85, like a weird cameo, but they like put a different logo there instead.
They put like a Captain America anniversary logo or something stupid there, right? And they
Something,
something like
yeah.
that.
I don't think it was the Cap anniversary quite yet, but yeah, they put something else over it that they didn't need to.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, there's a couple that we'll have to do a whole corner box episode where I
yeah,
have where we were in Morley, Baltimore, and I grabbed a Detective Comics, the Brayfo I never had, and
right.
it had like a red hood. It was a Joker cover and it had like a red hood in the box. I'm like, he's never drawn that. You know what I mean? He's never drawn what was that? Like, so yeah, I've never seen that
You know,
before.
do you know who's in the corner
$1.
box of New Mutants 87, the first Cable cover?
Mm, yeah,
Cougar.
Cougar, right.
I mean, Cougar had a whole cover to himself before Liefeld decided not to let Cougar uh, be in New Mutants. And McFarlane inked that cover too. That was in Marvel Age. They showed that cover in Marvel Age.
That's right. Yeah. Did
I,
they have
I
Cougar designs in Marvel Age too? Didn't they have like Rob
yes,
Liefeld sketchbooks and stuff
yeah.
in there?
Cougar was totally going to be part of X Force or New Mutants, and Liefeld pulled him back last minute.
God, it's so weird. It's so weird thinking about that. If that was already in print in Marvel, like Marvel Age, like can't Marvel like go after him and say like, hey,
No,
you
no
created
contract was
that?
signed. You got
Yeah,
to
I guess
sign a
you're right.
contract. I think there's an issue of Avengers where there's like a whole bunch of Marvel characters, and they drew Cable and Cougar next to each other, not drawn by Liefeld. So
Really?
Cougar actually appears in a Marvel comic.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
fun
what I
stuff.
what I might do for this, I might actually try to maybe split this segment and drop in the 1 minute and 46 uh video of Liefeld on Cameo. So
Right.
a couple of years ago, and it was on, and I reread it today, and I think I read it without the snark and tried to read it. Where if you look up Chip Zdarsky, Hickman, Liefeld cameo, and you just Google that. Actually, I put it in the description, and I can put the link in the description. You can literally go and watch 1 minute 46 of Liefeld's cameo on Zdarsky's Substack, and Zdarsky says, "Hey, one of we gave this. Me and Jerry Duggan gave this as a present to Jonathan Hickman before he took over the Krakoa era, and it literally just talks about was it like 767? Like it's
Yeah, what it was
literally
is, yeah, they wanted to kind of jokingly say, Hickman, here's a better way to write comics, haha. And they paid the Liefeld cameo, which anyone could do.
right,
Liefeld does cameos. I don't think they're
right.
that pricey. Um, and they pretended to be other people, and as a birthday present to their friend who's trying to be a writer, uh, tell
Is
them
leaving
how
his day job, right? Leaving
yeah,
his
he's
day
leaving his day
job.
job, wants to be a writer. How what do you think is the best way to do it? And Liefeld goes into a heartfelt explanation of like what he thinks comics should be, what they were
Mhm.
when he grew up, what he aims for himself. Um,
Yeah, it's tried, and he says it's like tried and true. Correct. So my whole point of this is that they're trying to be like these like goofy like new writers, like we shouldn't like act like this. Where even Liefeld wasn't saying the way he does comics per se. He was talking more about like, well, this is the standard. Here's the standard that have been running through.
yes,
Like let's you should do this because it's pretty much you're guaranteed success.
yeah.
Okay.
If you're a new writer, stick to this. You get experimental when you're a good writer. Once you're a good writer, you can do whatever you want to. But like this tried and true formula is what the fans kind of enjoy. We don't expect it so much, but like it feels right when you read it.
Yeah, and I've talked the last couple of weeks about I just want Dennis Camp to just take this over and even like kick Hickman out. I know Hickman like kind of pulled this over and had as many series that just completely inconsequential, but the last week one shot made more sense to where the trajectory of an Ultimate Universe is going. This is doing absolutely nothing in my opinion. And also I just has have disliked his formatting for a long time. So you don't have on the so we have the Ultimates, we don't have the two sidebars, we have the one sidebar. All right, that's fine. But every issue, including Ultimates, you have them artist showcase it. Okay, that's fine, right?
That's actually great, I think.
That's pretty cool. Sure. You have this. This is a completely unnecessary, right? Issue 12. All
This
right.
should
This
be on a creator's page. Like, see, Hickman, I guess, did graphic design prior to right going
yeah,
into comics. So he
sure.
always thinks he has these neat designs. But
Well,
like, why can't
I think
these
that
two pages
they
should be? I think
I
these
think
two
it was
pages should be
promoted
together.
as such. Correct. Yeah, that should just be I don't know. This should be all of it, including I think later on they even have like the creative. This could be one page, one, two, three. The recap, cast, creative
Because
team.
the truth is, most people ignore this.
I don't read it.
Most
Yeah,
people,
right over. Right over.
right?
So
Um,
I just I hate everything about this issue. There's no action in this issue. It is 20. I looked it up. It is 23 pages. It could be 22. So 767, but like it could have been the 22. The last page, the reveal page, the full
mhm.
page. Well, actually not the epilogue page, right? Um, the 22, not 23. And you also have two blank pages, right? Um, it should have been the bottom panel reveal or half page reveal. Okay. This is just like literally, this is the boringest polite dialogue through most of it. Also, I hated that it was just let me keep blowing off your kid. So this entire issue, Mary Jane just telling both of their kids to leave me alone. Oh, Gwen's calling me, don't care. Let's can I have any action would be good. So this and I really hated the very lazy Christmas sweaters, reindeer. Get out of here. Like I hate all of this. And look, everything is about everyone getting upset or divorced. Like it's all this Secret Santa. Haha. Because later on it's not really whatever. I don't know what she's cooking either. There's a lot of weird stuff. Look, I'm getting divorced. Everyone's getting divorced. So fun. Like this is just, oh, she's calling again. Just ignore it. I'll call her back. Okay. Like I hate. I don't. This is look. You have Mark and maybe I'll throw in a Marco Cicchetto, maybe a Punisher. I'll grab a Punisher action sequence. Right. Cicchetto worked with Rucka years ago and had like an amazing Punisher run. Even some of the Chip Zdarsky run there's some really good. So you pull him away from Zdarsky, right? Because he was with Zdarsky for a long time. And you give him this to draw for 23, 24 pages. And it's so flat. This was, I guess, supposed to be heartfelt and warming. It just feels real cold. The weird food or whatever. All right, here we go. Happy Speech. Okay, this is the fake ending, right? And then, okay, Gwen says, "Where's Peter?" All right, there. He gets to draw something, right? Look at the body
Right.
language, like really good. There, gets to draw Gwen something. Um, All right, here's the reveal. There we go. Great. This could be easily. This actually looks like it's blown up, right? It's kind of weird looking. Like it looks too zoomed in or whatever. It looks like you maybe drawn it smaller, and they're like, "Oh, we need 23 pages." And then Fear is done. Would say anything. I don't need these 2 pages. This is just a waste of having these like big white pages,
No, you
right?
you could have literally put those two things at the bottom of the page before.
Just have
Take
it as a
this, take the
thing. Just
happiness,
have
yeah,
it. Oh
have
my
it at the bottom of the
Lord.
page.
And also their quotes and who's quoting it? Who's saying that?
Is he just making it up? It's a
Who's saying it?
Hickman. He
It's
should put his
it's
name there.
John Hickman saying it, right? It just
Yeah,
like it's or it could be Jimmy Stewart.
it's something you heard. Yeah,
It's Christmas, but like seriously, that's just so lazy. And that's that. What is that? A Spider-Man? What is that? It looks horrible. I just hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Epilogue. Oh yeah, we really need a Craven with some markings. But you know what?
let's see.
Whatever.
It times in well with the movie.
Yeah.
More Craven. Okay, now here's the thing. I didn't mind this issue. I'm not going completely opposite of you. I was in a good mood this morning, sitting there laying on my comfy comic couch.
There's not one page of Spider-Man in the Spider-Man book. 0 pages. Zero. Point
Here-
zero.
here- So here's the thing.
Zero.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. Um, but I was just in the right mood for it. I didn't mind. You know what it is? It didn't feel like a Spider-Man comic. It felt like I was watching a TV show. That's all. So in that argument, you're correct. I was intrigued by trying to figure out what's going on with the universe. I don't remember ever seeing Mary Jane's mom. Her sister
Right.
Gail, was that who was the little girl that was hanging around Peter back in the McFarlane Sal Buscema era? Remember there was like a little redhead
Oh
girl.
yeah. Right. I don't know that was her niece or
Is that
something
her
or cousin.
niece? Yeah, but to have a niece, she'd have to have brother or sister.
Right. Right.
Like I kind of forget. I don't know. I don't know Mary Jane's, I guess, lineage. We never talked about her mom. Of course, we know she lives with her aunt. For that while, right?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I don't know. I was intrigued. Um, but it didn't feel like a comic. It just felt like a TV show. And then the ending. And I forget. Does Peter Parker not have powers? Does he only have powers because of the suit?
I don't remember. To me, this series is just so flat to me. I feel like it's you're taking a small. I feel it's very uncreative because he's
He's
taking like he's taking the Peter B. Parker concept from the Lord and Miller movie.
but he's
You
writing
know,
it like it's Bendis Ultimate Spider-Man, where it took 6 issues before he's wearing a costume or something.
right?
Or,
So
or
you're going to decompress it out. I just don't think that there's enough entertainment dollar to just
but
hold you out. I complained about having like what was it like you had one issue where like literally you had Ben Parker and J. Jonah Jameson in like a bathhouse for like 12
it's
pages.
it reads.
Talk.
The problem is Hickman's a good writer. So as you're reading it and nothing's happening, it reads good. It reads pretty fast. I'm into what he's doing. It only reads good because you're so familiar with all the characters. Like these characters. So see him do something a little bit different is interesting. But like you said, it's just not like I guess I want to see the action too. I
I'll
don't
do
know.
something.
It's
It's a waste
Hickman's a weird.
of Chiquetto. Get Chiquetto off of this book. Or get someone to write this book. Yeah,
Unless he likes doing this. Maybe he likes this. Maybe he likes the challenge, or just the fact. Listen, this book's
I don't know.
popular. It's one of Marvel's best-selling comics, I think.
I know, but you're just perpetuating the same to have these like to just have this. There's no, it's barely Christmas in there. The sweaters, everything was uncreative. Every decision in this book was just uncreative. The sweaters were bad. The sweaters were bad. Like you could, like if it was the editor of this book, I'd be like, hey, can you do something with the sweaters, or maybe the colorist can do something. You know what I
It
mean?
almost
Like
feels
flop
like
it.
it almost feels like Hickman is purposely doing the opposite of what Liefeld said. Like, well, I'll show you guys. I'm not going to do 787. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do 22 and
I
2.
think people are curious about having that Peter B. Parker concept, so they want to see it. I don't really think it has anything to do with like the good or bad. I just think it's the curiosity of the concept. I've yet to see anything happen. I also don't feel like any of these Ultimate books. I haven't read Ultimate Black Panther at all, just because I heard it's so much like regular Black Panther. I don't
It
understand it.
just looked. Yeah, I tried it. It just I'm glancing it at the store, and it's like it just looks like Black Panther. I'm sure there's. But see, that's the thing. I'm off and on with Black Panther. Sometimes I really love the book. Sometimes I just feel like it's
I
just
just
more of the
bought a Black
same.
Panther one yesterday at a shop for $1 or with markdown
Which
less than with the markdown.
which
But
which
I
one?
liked it. I liked the Acuna one
Which
where it
Black
was
Panther
like
one?
it was the 1,000 years in the future, the like the intergalactic future Black Panther.
Okay.
That's the Acuna one. That was the Ta-Nehisi Coates where he threw his turn just because it's so weird and out there. It's in space. It does
Yeah.
not have a Marvel continuity. It's crazy. The action was really crazy, and Acuna was inspired. All of it was good. That little block until they started bringing him back home, and then I think they rebooted it again after that. I think they switched it up again. So
Yeah. Thanos goes.
there
He was
is a
only doing
really
comics for like
good
a year or two, right?
yeah there is well he actually already had a run with Black Panther for a bit, and then it went to this, and
Oh,
then
okay.
that ended. Then it went to
Because
this, and then I want to think he ended it again, and I want to say he did it again. It opened again.
what's funny is like he comes in with Marvel, and I guess they just kind of expect him to do Black Panther, but then he like asked to do Captain America, which is funny because Dan Slott. This isn't a story I recently heard. This is an old story.
Mhm.
He has a huge Captain America pitch, and that's like one of the last great Marvel things he really wants to do. And at the Marvel group meeting where he was going to pitch it, like, and while they're all talking, Ta-Nehisi Coates is like, "Hey, can I do Captain America?" And there, Marvel's just like, "Yeah, sure." And Dan Slott's like, "Oh, that's how we can do it. We could just ask in front of people,
Right, and
but
then
you're not going
it'll
to say
go or it won't
no.
go. Right,
You're
right,
not going
right,
to say no to
right.
Coates."
No.
I was kind of hoping like Slott would take over after him, and I'm like, "Oh, you
Mm.
know what?" And Otley's done on Hulk. They could do the book together. I'd love a Slott Otley comic, and their name could be Slotley. You could
Slotly.
just
Yeah, I just saw that.
Slotley.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have been fine with any of that. I don't like. Yeah, I was going to try and read. I ran out of time. I was going to try and read the cap from this week. You know, I think
Uh,
it was just a one off. But
I love Straczynski. Like he's
maybe
such a
we'll
good
circle
writer,
back
but
to
I'm
that.
just I don't know. This Captain America doesn't feel like Captain America.
No, no.
Like the
So
character's right. I think he
yeah,
writes Steve Rogers correctly. I just think it's such a weird story for Steve Rogers to be doing. It's very meta. It's very Sandman esque.
hmm
Like he's dealing with people and ideas. So look at this, the best written Spawn comic ever since the
this is
'90s.
well. What's so funny about this is that like first off, I really like that just because McFarlane hasn't had he hasn't really had the discipline a lot recently to have the we like the artist to have cover A, right? So
Yes.
cover A is a beautiful Patrick Reynolds drawing. Patrick Reynolds, I want to say he did some Witchfinder, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
Um, but I also yeah plopped in that, so that's pretty fun. It's actually funny that like you didn't make the let's see the logo is exactly well, all right, the logo's moved and it's bigger here, I think, unless I'm just thinking it just like make the logo bigger or zoom up in. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you had a little
Make the
more
logo
room.
bigger. Like who's doing that? Come on. Like it's not that hard, you know. But all this is really fun. So this is what's cool about this is that's not the exact costume that Gunslinger Spawn has, but he has extra skulls. He's got like the like lapels almost at the bottom with the Spawn. I don't know, really fun. But that's cool. Yeah, do an alternate cover. Why not?
Yeah,
But
you're
this was a
Todd McFarlane.
frightening. And also, what's up with the colorist being just impronounceable consonants and vowels together, right? So
Well,
this
that's FCO. We talked about
No, no,
him the other
no.
week.
This is a different person who did this. It's, look, NCT. It's a different person. That's what I'm saying. Foucault Placencia did this cover,
Uh-huh.
not this cover. That's Reynolds, I guess, maybe painted or digitally painted.
Yeah.
But this person, NCT, I forget who did how to plop it in, but I'm like, what the heck? But again, look at this is this actually looks like a lot like Jason Sean Alexander who did a Spawn run.
Hmm.
But all this, but this felt very, very, very much like the Moritat version of Jimmy Palmiotti's All-Star Western when Moritat did it after New
Uh-huh.
52. Not necessarily like the Luke Ross stuff. This felt more moved here. But I just look, there's just this is just like deep. And Tomo, I checked it out. It is Tom Wojciechowski lettering, which is nice. I guess that's his only job. He just does Spawn comics, right? I guess.
He's made a career out of it. He's
Uh,
done Spawn comics for what, a generation and a half.
but I do like that it's still the same Spawn font with the circle around.
Mhm.
Uh, I like the eyes of Spawn here too. I think this is better than the Brett Booth. It's a little bit scarier. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that the depth of the black around his eyes. Don't know. It's the sunken in eyes is very, very frightening, and the coloring choices here. And this is also really gross.
Dude,
And
yeah,
again,
peeling off
it's
the costume
listen,
to show the burnt skin underneath.
it's
Oh,
Jonah Hex. You're gonna hire someone who's basically gonna do like a Jonah Hex Spawn. You're gonna hire the Jonah Hex writer. You're gonna hire the best Jonah Hex writer, basically,
yeah,
unless you go with Kanigher or you have one of
right,
the
right.
guys from the,
The
but
best
whatever,
modern, the best
best
modern
modern, correct.
Jonah Hex writer.
So this is what I think, and this is how I feel used to be what McFarlane would do. He when he did like so when he had who did the medieval Spawn Witchblade? Who wrote that? Do you remember? I don't even remember.
I feel like it was the Top Cow guy,
Right. So
right?
yeah, it
The
was like
original, the Brandon Peterson drawn miniseries, correct?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But you have, and we don't think that's printed, right? We don't think that that's reprinted,
that
correct?
is not. No, if there might have been a trade in the '90s,
Right.
which is now long out of print.
Right, right, right.
McFarlane's got a weird thing with reprinting. Like all the spawns are pretty. He does spawn trades pretty regularly,
Hmm.
but all
Spawn
like the
Origins, yeah.
all the other stuff,
Blood Feud is not reprinted,
right?
even
That's not
though that
reprint.
technically is not. That could just be plopped into one of his Origins traits. That could just be plopped in somewhere along there.
It could be
It's
because I
not.
think he
I don't think
used
it
some of
is.
those. Okay,
I don't believe it is.
it could be because it just fits along. I think that some of that storyline continues in Spawn. It definitely uses stuff of it, but that's an Alan Moore Spawn story.
Mhm.
We've said this ad nauseum. The Alan Moore Wildcat Spawn, Alan
Right.
Moore
Scott
Violator.
Clark. Yeah.
I mean, we understand the Neil Gaiman and Angela
Violator.
trade.
Yeah.
Did you know? You know, originally the Violator miniseries, the Alan Moore one, was supposed to be drawn by McFarlane. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna take some time off from Spawn and draw this Violator miniseries, and we'll get Capullo to fill in. Like that was his original idea.
Hmm.
Or no, or was Bart Sears going to draw Spawn? He had somebody going to draw Spawn. He was going to do Violator. But then at the same time, he got wind of Liefeld wanting to do Youngblood Superman. So he made a deal with DC to do Batman Spawn first. And
Hmm.
then Liefeld never ended up doing the Youngblood Superman story.
Wow.
DC chose to do Spawn Batman, which, I guess makes sense to do that first. But then Liefeld got too busy to go back to it, which sucks. Um, so he leaves Spawn to do Spawn Batman. So now he can't do Violator. That's when he hires Bart Sears. Bart Sears
2 issues.
didn't think there was a time limit to draw this book. Like he got 2 issues done and he was about to work on a third. And McFarlane's like, where the hell is this comic? I need it. He's like, oh, I didn't know you needed it by a certain time. I guess there was a miscommunication there.
Hmm.
So that's when he had Capullo step in and finish it. Capullo, who was supposed to be working on a Ripclaw miniseries, got pulled away from Ripclaw to do Violator. And then he just took over Spawn.
The Ripclaw drawing is in issue of Cyberforce maybe, and like a pinup or something
I
maybe.
feel like it's somewhere. It's a beautiful drawing.
Yeah,
I was actually really looking forward to it.
that's his older style. That's like the Harry Candarello style. That's not his McFarlane style.
Right, that's his post X Force Violator
Oh,
style.
he's in Death Made Black too. There's Capullo in Death Made Black. There's 3 pages. Again, I
Oh,
need
look
like
at that.
6 Death Made Blacks. Even that's what you listen. Violator's in my Bart Sears section, and then third issue's in my Capullo section. It's exhausting. So yeah, I need like 5 or 6 Death Made Blacks.
But
Cool.
also, Violator should be in your Alan Moore section.
I don't have an Almore section.
Heresy.
It's an artist based. It's an artist based collection. It could be in yours.
He's Alan Moore is an artist. He drew he drew layouts for the whole, at least the first issue of Violator.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. There's no Violator trade, or no? There is, or Was
in
there a
other
90s
in
straight?
other countries,
So
like
weird.
even digitally, you can get like Violator in like another country. I'm like, this doesn't make like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's kind of goofy. Like, I feel like there should be, you know what? I don't know. There should be like almost like a Kindle app where you can buy it in another country and then just like tap it and then change the language, right? Like Dylan Dog, we talked about this before. Dylan Dog, there's a ridiculous amount of Dylan Dog printed in Italy. There's not a lot here. There's only like a Dark Horse reprint. I have a scan of one that's from like a library. It's literally from the library. It literally has like the stickers on the cover and stuff like that. And it's just a high res scan of a library edition, literal
Yeah,
physical library in the Midwest or some crap. But there's no good Dylan Dog here, but they still make Dylan Dogs. There's some people who put it on the high seas, and it's just beautiful Dylan Dog artwork in Italian. Maybe I should learn Italian. You know,
the thing is, maybe the files for Violator are gone. All this stuff's gone. You think McFarlane, like I understand Wildstorm and Extreme, you had studios, you had dozens of people working there. Stuff got lost, stuff got misfiled, hard drives got used to print other books. I get all that, but McFarlane's one person doing one comic. So you think, and for the most part, he
where's
had
Al
all the
Simmons
Spawn
at? Oh wait,
files.
Al Simmons I think sued him, right? Where's Al Simmons? Wasn't that Al Simmons'
Al
job
Simmons, one of
as like
the
production people, one of his just
dude,
persons on file?
that's all Greg Capullo did for like 5 years. He stopped drawing comics and just worked for McFarlane. Is that weird? He didn't draw anything between last issue of Spawn to Creech, the Jay Leno Spider-Man crossover, and then he
The
didn't do
Jay
anything until
Leno,
Hunt.
the Jay Leno Spider-Man.
Remember that?
That's
Remember that
so.
backup story? It's like a 3-part backup story.
Oh boy.
Yeah, hey Spider-Man, it's swing
What a
around the
bad.
city.
Oh, I'm gonna plop some artwork from that down there. Yuck. Let's go back to some good Spawn here. Let's go back here. But so this is very, very violent. Again, I love this. I think that this is just, and again, there is 25 issues of Gunslinger Spawn possibly, to which they've had Dexter
It's
Soy and Brett Booth for the most part, right?
right,
So
and
two
it was.
very, very good
Did
artists.
they stop the who was it wasn't Daniel Way writing it or John? No, Jonathan.
John Arcudi,
No, who was writing it? Who was the last person to write it? I think it's like who wrote you?
John Layman.
John Layman. That's right. John
Yeah,
Layman was writing, I think, Gunslinger. But see, the problem with working for McFarlane, and I hope Palmiotti doesn't have this problem. McFarlane likes to add dialogue
that's right.
to a
Rewrites.
book that's already written. He
This
does
first
rewrites.
issue looks okay. It looks like I don't think this is touched at all. This feels very, very much like if you
No,
told me this is a Jonah Hex issue from like, or an All Star Western. Okay. I mean
yeah,
it's much more violent. So yeah, so not no. And then also like really cool horror element at the end. And again, this is Patrick Reynolds' best art ever. Ever. I don't know. I love it. I love this.
no,
I thought this
it's
was
good.
excellent.
It's horror. It's horror. It's
Horror.
scary.
Horror.
I know it's horror. I like
Ooh.
my girls a little on the horror side.
Ooh. I didn't realize this. I'm looking at the GI Joe cover, right? While you're looking at it too.
Yes.
The heads at the top. I didn't notice that. I didn't notice the very old school Marvel heads.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think that was an issue one. I don't believe it was an issue one. I mean, this is a very more. This is actually a very character focused cover. The other cover was all kind of laid out and stuff, so it might have been on there. Also, just realizing that the GI Joe logo has no border nor flag. Not a bad thing. I mean, that no problem there. This was amazing. This was really fantastic. I did a couple clips of this too. I love this coloring. I think this coloring is slightly different than the coloring that Brad Anderson, I believe, is doing the Real American Hero, but still doing the dot the slight offset dot coloring. Was Jordi Belair, Awestruck, famous Awestruck approved Jordi
Yes.
Belair. But yeah, I had that pulled because look at that, dude. Look at that. That's so crazy. Yeah, and that actually kind of comes off of Duke
Picture Mike.
smashing, basically breaking apart like the helicopter thingy that I think I had when I was a kid too. I want to say I had that toy.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
it's such a great follow up to like issue one ended like downbeat. And then issue two starts off, it's still downbeat. Like G.I. Joe is not winning. This is great. The Valkyries, they
the
just come around
Valkyries,
and
yeah,
kill everyone who's wounded. Like,
further kill them
yeah.
more. I'm gonna kill them more. They're shooting the wounded. Yeah, and just the shock of this here, really good. And I guess I don't think I had it there when he beats this guy up. That might be a character from. the Duke miniseries when he's beaten and he beats the face off and kind of sees who under the face off. Yeah, all this was really good. Look, like this is what I mean, like as far as like an inspired art. Like when we're talking about, I know we talked about Pepe Larraz earlier when we were in the news when we were talking about the new Spider-Man artist.
Mhm.
I want someone that's going to have a different perspective on this. I don't want this guy to not draw GI Joe. I'm just saying that I want someone that I want it like Pepe Larraz would be incapable of doing a page like this per se, just because of the way the perspective is. Because Pepe Larraz is going to draw exactly like a Stuart Immonen newer clone,
Yeah,
basically, right?
listen, I'm not against Pepe Larraz doing a GI Joe book miniseries, one shot at one point, fill-in issue. That's all cool. But this guy's got something to where like you believe it. You believe these guys are hanging off these cables. The way the
Mm-hmm.
straps are attached to this metallic item,
Right. The shard.
it's believable. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the shard.
The shard. Also, look at how fun the again it's very toyetic, right? It's look at the helicopter with the teeth and stuff, right? It's just
Yeah.
all just awesome looking, just
Well,
awesome.
look at what Duke shows up in. You know, the one I don't know if you
I didn't have that up. Yeah, I
you
know when
know
he's flying in on. Yeah, that's insane.
it's a super cool toy.
But like this is also just a perfect like here we go. Let's just have some stupid good
There you go.
storytelling
You love
in.
that first panel, Mark? Go back.
No, it's
That
rebar.
Cobra.
No, I hate it. Bah. Yeah, no rebar, please. Yeah, there's a lot of Look at it. Ah, look at the bottom panel. Yuck.
I know.
No good. Yeah, and I love this too. Also, I think this is the first time
Ah, this is
that they've
terrible.
talked about the actual like burn ramifications. So this is actually taken away from the GI Joe cartoon because no one ever got hurt. That was always the joke. It's like do do do
No,
do do. And people like just
they
they're
always
moving
fired over.
around
Yeah,
it. Yeah, they're moving around it. But this
here it's
like
like the
CoverGirl
lasers
is
do so much damage. Oh, a
uh
CoverGirl getting burned?
yeah, got burns from whatever those lasers were. Our people have never seen anything like it. Blah. And then that's also really sad because like they kill anyway but yeah, so even going into this, and this I want to talk about hand acting. Okay, I've never seen this. I guess I act a lot with my hands as I'm very Italian and do it.
You are. Yeah.
Look at this hand acting, right? We need to
Hey,
do
look at
this.
this.
He's like,
Do you see this
hey,
around? This is
stop it
crazy.
is. Stop it is, right?
I'm gonna go get us some spaghetti. My papa's coming over. We're gonna have us some
It's actually
lasagna.
true. I have spaghetti downstairs. That's actually true.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make chicken cutlets, but
so stereotypical.
look at this hand acting here. Got some more hand acting. Look at that hand made that guy made it mad, make Duke mad. This was great because what does he call him? Heavy metal, which
Yeah,
sounds like a GI. Is
I,
that a GI Joe?
I
Or
don't
I don't
know.
know. It sounds like one, right? So I think that's also cool. He's like, oh, sorry, yeah, heavy metal. His name was rock and roll, and just look at the coloring on this, and
What
then
if
the offset coloring on
there
them
should just
fighting
be
it
more
off at
GI
the end.
Joes? Like I'm grunge or I'm ska. Meet
Well, this guy's
ska.
named Risk, and that's not unlike that's very sure. I
Yeah.
mean, this is a new character, so I think that actually really really works. All of this is really
Is Risk a board game owned by Hasbro? I wonder.
yeah, it might be because then it might be in that licensing deal. Maybe
Yeah,
like I think they have.
didn't Hasbro buy Parker Brothers and all that?
Yeah, and this is really fun too. And I also think that that Destro. Look at the Destro at the bottom. Oh my God.
Well, look at
Uh,
the second panel. Look at Cobra Commander's mask. You can
with the
see the
reflection
reflection
of
of
it.
the fist. Dude, this
Yeah.
dude's good at hands, man.
Yeah, actually,
He's
this is
he's
a lot
good
like
at
Sammy. He's
hands.
good at hands. It's all, and also we'll get to it, right? So here we go. We got
Yeah.
clutch at the end. Great.
Surprise.
But
I
look,
love
here's
that I love that you don't
hands,
spoil some comics and spoil other comics. You just pick and
hands.
choose
I just,
where you want
yeah,
to spoil.
yeah. But here's the hands. Yeah, I like this with Tom Riley talking about, just trying to slightly update, but have a lot of reference, and even mentioned the movies in here too, which I thought was interesting. He
You
mentioned
know,
the
I didn't
Cobra and Retaliation film, Rise of Cobra.
I didn't mind drawing hands in art class. I never found it to be like that difficult.
I hate it.
Or feet.
I hate it. Yeah.
No.
I also like that he talks about because you can see at the bottom that is the GI Joe like classified uh uh Destro with the leopard print on the interior. So that's really fun. This okay,
Go back a
Flash
page.
Gordon.
Do you
Yeah.
think do you think this is because everyone's in the same position? Think of some sort of a modeling app? Just like a
Yeah, I mean he could do the initial. He could I mean I feel like he'd maybe be doing the initial and doing that, but I don't
it's important with colors. Like when you're trying to figure out colors on characters, like your best bet, like I just like photocopy the same Milligan drawing like 5 times, and then we just get together with colored pencils and stuff and try to figure out like it's not easy.
I feel like I
Design
had
like
a monster maker type of thing. Do you remember that where you could kind of put the things and then
Are
you would
you talking about Play-Doh?
no. It was a drawing you do like the and then you had like it was like etching. It was like you put these plastic things down and it would be like you'd have the different like different feet, different torso, different legs, different arms, and different head. I think it was four, but I feel like I had that when I was a kid, and then you could do like different character designs. Then you put a piece of paper down, and then you had a thing that would just kind of shade over it,
All right.
and it was like an etching. It was something about I don't know who made it. It was Hasbro or Playmobil. I don't know. I'll see if I can find out. I don't remember what it's called. I'll dig around and see if I can find it. But I know what you're saying here. You're saying here, like this is basically it's the same pose on all these guys. Got the hand up, but then he's got the Cobra hand acting,
Yeah.
kind of clawing
Yeah. So
out.
yeah, I don't know if some sort of computer modeling thing he's doing, or he's just drawing them all purposely the same way. So he
Funny
can
that
see this. Like this
Destro's
is
got
how
like a
he
Luger. He almost has a Megatron down there.
almost. It's not a quite a Walther P-38, but
Yeah. Funny, we wouldn't know that from
he,
history class. We only know
that's,
that from Transformers class,
that's right.
baby.
I can't name many other guns.
I can name zero guns. So
I can name the Walther
and a
P-38.
Glock. Um, this is also great. This actually had I didn't mind it. It was Cliff Richards on the back end. Cliff Richards did a lot of Star Wars books for Dark Horse, but we love the Will Conrad on this, Jeremy Adams,
Mm-hmm.
Lee Lowridge
Little
on the
little
coloring.
aggravating this cover
What do you mean?
because the cover promises something that does not happen in the issue.
We don't like that. Yeah, we're not big fans of that.
Boo.
That's true. That's true. And I only put like one page of this in here, but I wanted to just kind of talk about this for a second.
Well, let's. Do you want to talk about the comic at all?
No. Well, we don't
Okay.
have time for that. We got time for it. It was good. It's as
It's a
solid as
good.
it is. There's still a
It's
good
all.
cliffhanger at the end.
It's mostly about Zarkov, his
Right.
history. It's just like what kind of character he is, what he's doing. And it's just a continuation of the story, but it's been good. It's such a solid. I've not, like I said, I've not enjoyed a Flash Gordon anything
Five.
since the Filmation cartoon when I was like 6.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
the costume design, which is a Wando costume design, it's been all of it's been excellent. Um, but I think more, what the thing that's impressing me about Dynamite's doing it, but Man Cave's also doing this, that they have this, and every month they just update it, right? And then they add like another month. So they just continually have here's our publishing program, but here's our projection, you know. And I haven't seen the classic collection hardcovers yet, but I'd be curious to see what they collect and how they collect it because I only have one Flash Gordon hardcover downstairs, which has I think later Alex Raymond stories. I don't know if they were the Sundays. I'm not sure exactly how they print them. They seem like the Sundays, or I don't know. I'm not really sure. But I would like to because I don't have actually I have a scan of a lot of the strips, and because I know it goes from Alex Raymond to Mac Rayboy. I want to say Al Williamson did it for a while, but also here. So here's everything. So they take a month off. They have a breather in January 2025,
right.
which will reprint 1 to 5. And then okay, everyone read that. Defenders of the Earth,
Founder.
Defenders. Flash Gordon Quarterly also came out. I didn't look at that this week. But then you have this. Let me jump back here. I think I looked at this one time. You can subscribe to Comics Kingdom, which if you subscribe, I believe this is correct. If you subscribe to Comics Kingdom, you can read like hundreds of of Phantom. I think you can read almost all this stuff.
You can read you can say thousands of strips because these
Thousands.
strips
Yeah.
have 365 new strips a year. So all of the was it King features?
1934. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the King feature stuff you can get on their website, which is great. New stuff, old stuff. You have all sorts of comic artists who have done works on these characters.
Yeah, and they mentioned like this guy. I've seen him. I've seen him. He did that. The Spirit Returns a couple years ago. That's where I saw this guy before. I don't know what Lavender Jack or St. John is, but Dan should that however I don't know how
Yeah,
to say that.
yeah.
I can't say that. But yeah, I like this style. The style looks very much like what would you say, Michael Cho,
Look at Cho.
Darwin Cook, Michael
Who
Avon. I
drew
mean,
who drew the cape for he's like a Phil Bond style artist. Mike Royston?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I can see a little bit of that in it.
just super, just really, really fun. But I'd be curious. I don't need another subscription, right? I don't need another subscription, but and also 'cause I don't need another rabbit hole, right? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, of course I
No,
do. Of
listen, we
course I do.
enjoy the new Flash Gordon comic so much that it's tempting to go down the other rabbit hole. To read the Alex Raymond stuff, to go back to like the 30s Flash Gordon comic strips would be a lot of fun.
34. Yeah, to do the 34 and through. I mean, so much of it's filled out from that because I mean, we have Al Williamson because of Alex Raymond. We have a lot of people, Wally Wood. There's a lot of people that came right
You
from
you have Batman
that.
because you have Alex Raymond, right?
Right, right.
Isn't Detective 27 a swipe from a Flash Gordon comic?
Or was it a shadow? It was a shadow, I want to say. Is that right?
Probably not.
Yeah, we're both wrong. We're probably both wrong. Well, the what was
Well,
it? The crime syndicate or the I forget. Yeah, but I don't know. I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure it was a shadow. I think it was a shadow. Like you're right. Detective 27 is lifted completely from a pulp story. So
too funny. Too funny.
here we
Um,
go, baby. Here we
yeah,
go.
our boy Shully, Tom
First
Shully.
off, very spoiled this week, right? Very, 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 very spoiled. So while this was super fun, the coloring was really wonderful. I'm just a big fan of the blue, purple, reds. I'm just a big fan of that blue, purple, like
Yeah,
just crazy. And this is kind of in the same style as he did with that Jack Kirby book last year, but again with a little bit more color. But I like the charcoals that he's doing. I imagine he's
it's a
doing this digital.
this is really neat. I don't know if he's doing it digital. I mean, the coloring's digital, but yeah, I think he's
Mhm.
drawing it pencil on paper. You can see because he does do things digitally, but I think he pencils all his comics because there's like certain shading and certain
Mhm.
mistakes. There's smears. He'll leave a pencil smear on a page.
All right. Yeah.
Um, and it's neat to see this style because this is not the typical Tom Scioli style.
Right.
He's going for a pre-comic book style. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like he's trying to go pulp style. He's trying to go comic strip style. It's neat. It's just neat. But the colors, like he does such weird choices. They all end up looking good.
Yeah, I like all the just all the pinks and the pastels, and then I have this. It's just
Look at
so
this thing, dude. What a
good.
cool. It's just so cool.
Yeah, but it's his own Godzilla, which I think is really nice. Like, let me go back to the cover. It's his own like,
It's a wider faced Godzilla, and I wonder
yeah.
if that's by choice or by demand.
But we've seen him draw like somewhat traditional Godzillas. That was like what he was kind of almost like playing around with earlier this year on his Instagram and stuff. But yeah, I love that. This actually feels a lot like the Transformers GI Joe feeling of style, where everything it's all feels like toys. You know what I mean? This feels like toys together. But
I
there's
wonder if he's trying to
definitely
do
this
his
is a
own.
very danger, right? This stuff felt just very, and again,
Oh yeah,
submarine, throw it in the red, you know, we're gonna do some things. Look how scary that is. It's so funny. And he's just kind of toying with them. Look at this thing. Holy mackerel. Yeah, pretty very much spoiled. So
yeah.
yeah, not too much to talk about that. But at the end, the only thing I didn't have in there was just like literally just a lot of, it's very literary at the end where they just have like just a letter being written or, a synopsis at the end. So yeah, there's two. How many issues is this? Five, four, five?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. But just stupid good. This one I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't going to throw this in the list. I would highly recommend. I think I'd recommend kind of all the Godzilla books that IDW has done. This being one of them here, of course, is the Shioli. But this is more of the stuff that they have been doing, right?
But sometimes something rises above your normal. Check this out. This is like we love the Godzilla books, but every once in a while something happens like this where you're like, no, everyone needs to read this book.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy. I don't know. This guy might have drawn one of the other Rivals books, but not to this level. So this is Kevin Anthony Catalan. No idea. Dave Baker. No idea. The coloring by him also. Oh, I see. 21. I need to figure out if the 21 and 34 are different. I didn't really see a coloring difference in this, but Heather Brickell doing this, but all this coloring this behind me, like every bit of action of this was really good. And also they're doing not unlike I also love the logos are the same,
Yeah.
like the big. That's very Marvel. It's very early Marvel. I feel like they did that a lot.
Now remind me, Space Godzilla. because I got a big hole in my Godzilla watching, which is all the post Godzilla 1985
Yeah,
movies.
that's a Millennium Godzilla. That's not
Right.
that's what I mean. So this
So
is
is that he's Biollante, right? Combined with something else?
I forget exactly. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So there's a lot of continuity that you may or may not even need to know. You don't need it in this at
You don't
all.
need to know it.
No.
You just know that these are two alien creatures,
Yeah. Right.
you know?
Right. Yeah, the Space Godzilla is like ridiculous. So like I feel the design is really good. There's a toy that I want. It's never less than $50 to $70. There's a Space Godzilla figure that I want. NECA had one, and it's really, really dumb expensive. But
Uh,
they have a lot of good human stuff in this. But to me, like the battles and the coloring, and here's the lettering. Look at the lettering in here. But this feels like a little bit almost like the lettering in there. That almost feels like a Daniel Warren Johnson lettering in there. But just all this is just crazy. And the coloring, they're doing a little bit of the dot stuff in there too. Jordy Belair dots. Um, oh my God. Yeah, this
yeah.
was just a blast. And again, this is really what if you this is where when we talk about printing, right? And digital, like can you imagine what book was it? What Madureira book was that? Ultimate what?
Well,
Ma-
Ultimates Volume 3.
yeah, so Ultimates Volume 3 number 1 came out and everyone was sad about it basically, right? Because it didn't.
It printed way too dark, and we all thought it looked like garbage. But
Mhm.
then we saw the digital version of it. Like he started posting some, like I don't even know if Marvel was doing digital comics yet, but he started posting some pages because Liquid colored it.
Mhm.
And we
Right.
saw once you saw the pages digitally, you're like, oh, these are gorgeous. You can
Right.
see all the Madura work. You can see the lines. You can see the color shadings. Like it just printed like shit. You
Yeah.
know,
I still think you need the black line. I still think whether you do something with the black line, so you figure this page, right?
right?
All the side there's black line, black speed line out. Yeah.
Mm.
But then, the colors is going to go in and then recolor that, which is relatively easy to do in Photoshop. Relatively, I'd say relatively because it's
I,
sometimes going to be a little bit difficult.
I like
The
the
green
little,
is outlined,
I
the
like the
green
white
energy.
dots around the crystals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's just like uh, just a shading, just a
That's a
digital. I don't know
pretty
what it is,
relatively easy effect you can do in Photoshop. That's
but it's
relatively
worked.
easy.
He uses it good,
Yeah, it brightens
or
it
she
up, sure.
uses it. I don't know who did it. I don't know if she did it
Yeah,
or
this
he
might be
did it.
Heather. Yeah, I want to say that seems like that. This might be the 2 pages that maybe he colored, but or he's doing the outline coloring what he wants, and then she does it. But yeah, this was ridiculous. What's on behind me?
Really, and you really feel like a page like this. You really feel the weight and the hugeness of these characters. Sometimes it's lost on Transformer comics or Godzilla comics or anything that has big, oversized creatures. It's like you don't know how scary it is. You don't know how big these things are. It's crazy. You know, we lose focus on that. Even like you ever go on a safari? I'm talking like Great Adventure Safari, not like a real safari. We're not like
North
rich.
Jersey Safari, North Jersey Six
North,
Flags Safari. That's the only safari we could go on. Jersey,
that's
baby.
that's Central Jersey. Jackson, New Jersey has a park. Six Flags Great Adventure, one of the infamous Six Flags parks, and they have a safari. You used to be able to drive your own car through it. Okay, and the baboons would climb on your car and break off your windshield wipers. They were known for that. But the giraffes, if you brought like an apple with you, the giraffes would come down. And this one giraffe stuck his head in my car to get the apple. This huge giraffe head is in my
Right,
little 2-door Rav4. And he
Rav4.
loves the
The
apples.
Rav4, rest in peace.
And he was licking the top of my car with their weird ass blue tongues. I don't know if you know this, giraffes have like blue tongues.
No.
But like you feel like you're next to a dinosaur when you're that close to a giraffe.
Mm.
So imagine that times 1,000. Like you just feel so small and so meaningless. So yeah, good job with that on this page.
Yeah.
That's the roundabout point I'm getting to. Spiraling back to Godzilla.
Yeah, this they go into a little bit of like a couple pages back where they're showing, look at this, look how gross the blood is there. They're trying to help they basically have a medical unit in the subways, the abandoned subways, because the whole city's destroyed. Yeah, just you got the Screonk there, boom, perfect. Um yeah, I forget exactly which Godzilla this is. It's a Millennium Godzilla too. So I don't even think they're in the same movie. So they're moving things around, which again, just fine, just fine. And then that's the end of every Godzilla. You got him going off. He's gonna go
Yeah.
and go to bed. He's gonna go sleep for a little bit. Or I guess in the MonsterVerse, once he goes to the Coliseum and lays down like a cat, and that's fine too.
Yeah. You love it. That makes you love him more,
Uh,
right?
yes. So,
Rubbing my face in it.
pretty much, yeah. Well, I did. I think
That's a
this is
nice
my
cover.
last review. Yeah. That's again. We just talked about Jason Alexander, Jason, not George Costanza, Jason Alexander, Jason Sean Alexander. On Gunslinger Spawn, which he didn't draw, but looks very similar to this. But this is a very dusty, very dusty Conan there, which is pretty fun. This person has
This is
not
King Conan, right?
done. Yeah, yeah.
The
Well, it's
cover.
it's kind of neat the way that this is kind of bracketed, right? So you have this, and this is Jeff Isherwood. The reason I wanted to mention this is because there's a lot of personality, a lot of face, a lot of good face acting in this here as well. I love that I zoomed in on
Look
this.
at dude. This feels like he could have drew this today, or he could have drew it 30 years ago.
Yeah, you could draw it. Well, a lot of times he drew over, or Val Mayrick may have done the layouts, and then Jeff Escher would embellish it through, almost like it was almost like this. It was almost the Rudy Nebris of it all, or an Ernie Chan. So, and then he did, of course, his own issues. We were big fans of Jeff Isherwood from the Namor run. It was not too much, not very similar, almost like Namor in face of this as well.
Yeah.
But I love, yeah, just all of this, all the angles. You would love this story. It was 3 issues. But this is what I mean, look at give me damn sword. So just really wonderful. And this is really what it should be. It should be the black and white. Now this I almost maybe I'll drop in. So they go to fight something later, but he puts on a little bit of tribal makeup on, right? Less than I guess Craven did in that one issue recently of the Ultimate Spider-Man couple issues back. Reviews. But there is a Alcatina Chuck Dixon one that I know I had on my Instagram before where it's too tribal. So this is kind of right in the middle. I think this is correct. But fighting this like Cthulhu thing, I didn't put all the pages in, but here's him. He's basically freed these spirits. He talks about he had a dream of them earlier and then gets rewarded. Oh, do I even have it? I think I cut it out. Yeah, I'll have to plop it in. There's the page after this. I must not have put it in. The person who's carrying him just she goes like this, and all her clothes she drops him. She goes like this, and all her clothes just vanish off. They just explode off of her,
That is a reward.
and then they pretty much she gets on top of him, and they bang all the way to the ground. And then like then there's him like look at him. He's very happy. Is very happy,
Good old Happy
satisfied,
Conan. Yeah.
happy satisfied banged by this magician mystic and
Uh-oh.
whoa,
There's the
look at
look.
that.
You seen that?
And then there we go. There's Conan's kid who basically runs this group up there. So whoopsie. So you got to figure Conan's got a lot of kids out there, right? So really
Well,
fun,
yeah.
really just great. And again, Jason Aaron could kind of plop into this a couple of years out if he wants to, and maybe wants to do this. This is
Wait
Scar
a minute.
Son of
So
Son of Conan.
this isn't the son that becomes the king, is it?
Yeah, I think so. It's Conan. I want to say that because they mentioned him in a couple of pages back. So yeah, after his son
Yeah,
Khan
because
assumed the
did
throne.
we ever
Mhm.
get us is this has it ever been mentioned who Khan's lineage was? I guess this is the first time.
This may be the first. Yeah, there she is. Zelina. Zelina.
So she's like,
Uh,
so does
yeah.
Khan have wings?
I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Jason Aaron could just go do this series. Go do this series or have it in Savage Sword of Conan. You know what I mean? Again, that's what I mean is that you have 3 issues. Jason Aaron drops in uh, Jeff Isherwood, which I believe was a conversation when Jeff Isherwood went up to Jim Zub.
It's a conversation. That should be your
It's a
Conan
con.
podcast.
It's a conversation where Jeff Isherwood said something's like, "Hey, I like what you're doing in Conan." He's like, "I like what you did in Conan." He's like, "Oh, well, he's like, you should come back." He's like, "Oh, you don't want me." He's like, "No, we do. We want you. Please come over here." And then I guess he got them together. And is this a new artist? No. Is it look beautiful? It looks unreal. Like I can't believe how
Dude,
I can't
this
believe this is such
page
a
looks like
cool resurgence.
this page looks
Yeah,
like Barry Windsor Smith. Not the faces, but the
it's
bodies
a lot
do.
of stuff. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of
You
stuff.
know?
It's a lot. I just again, what a blast. Here's a Tom Rainey pinup, right? Really fun. Really loose, by the way, really loose. But then what's also really cool is I zoomed in on this. You get to see the pencil marks. Look at that. You get to see.
Oh yeah, look at
So
that.
you do a high res scan, so you just have it. Why not? You can have it zoomed out, zoom in. Very nice.
It's a
And then
cool
the
looking.
backup,
It's a cool looking creature too.
yeah, and the backup, and again, Peter Kowalski's been pretty busy this year. But this was pretty really really fun. And again, this is what I mean when I was telling you about this. Is Starkings has a whole font that he has for all the Conan books, which are not that different from his normal font. But I don't know if he does it or this guy Tyler Smith does the title. It's very much like a Joe Rosen, uh, all that. You'll see. That's the title pages are always super super fun.
I know. I got to
But
stop by one day, give you your little Christmas presents,
oh yeah, we
and
got to figure out. We got to figure that because I have yours, and then we got to
and
do
then
it
you got to lend me all
unwrapping.
your lend me all your stack of Conan comics. What
What
yeah.
a good time. I like this just because the only thing I wanted this to have is I just thought that maybe just because a lot of the Conan books, and this is the way Kowalski draws, and he's not drawing it that much different than I think he would draw any other book.
Right.
Like it should be colored. I just feel like it should have that someone should go in and tone it. You know what I mean? I think someone should go in and just,
I can see some tones.
you know,
You know, that was one of my problems collecting Mad and Cracks and all those magazines. And I collected not only the humor stuff, but I collected any magazine I could find, horror magazines, comic magazines. And my problem with the comic magazines was they weren't shading them.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you
yeah.
go back and read a lot of the Conans, the Punishers, Marvel was just taking regular comics and turning them into magazines. In fact,
Mhm.
when Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade had a magazine comic book movie adaptation and a comic series, and they just took the comic, made it into a magazine. And then they had magazines that were not made into comics, like the Nightmare on Elm Street magazine. There was no
Mhm.
comic of that. There's an
Right.
Elvira movie adaptation, no comic of that. But they didn't shade a lot of them, and they just don't look as good as the traditional Warren magazines or like I said, the Mads, the Creepies, the Vampire. They were all nicely shaded.
There's a bunch of
So
scans. I want to say that there's future tense, and then there's I forget which one there is here, but there is there's a lot of Conan tales that are reprinted in the UK, and someone over there shaded it, whether it be Paul Neary or so, like he hired somebody. So Marvel UK, the reprints that were done over there
mhm.
that they would have in weekly newspapers, they shaded. Correct. You're right. So that's what I mean is that there are some there. A couple years ago when I did my New Gods uh, issue one panel by panel, which was I want to say like
Is that available
it
on
was like 80.
Idiosyncratic Pulp?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. Idiosyncratic Pulp, where I did a page per day. And again, I love all my editions, right? So
Can you
I
spell that for
had
people?
no, I can't. But I had it. So it would be page one panel, or it would be like so page two, panel one, and it would be the initial. It would be the Baxter reprint.
Hmm.
It would be the digital recoloring,
Hmm.
which and it would be the
Did
black
they
and
do a good
white.
job? Did they do a good job of that
Uh,
recoloring? Is that what they used in the omnibuses? Because
yeah,
they use a better, cheaper paper on that. They were neat. They were
yeah.
hardcover, but they were like it's
Uh,
like a thinner paper.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I have those, and I have the large fourth world omnibus, the bigger ones.
Mm.
But the
Okay.
omnibus ones that they had that were comic size trim, that has the better paper. Correct, that has the better paper. But it was Kirby's decision to make things certain colors when they did the Baxter reprint. So all of Orion's eyes in the initial comics were like blue. I think they were blue or brown, and then they're red. They're always red later. So
Hmm.
there are differences, but I'm trying to think who did it. I'll have to list who did it. Someone did, and I want to see. I may be able to even just interview them how that process worked. But when they did the reprints in the '90s, and I think I was at the shop at the time when they were coming out, I'm like, why did they do this? This is the first time New God's been reprinted in a long time, and the first time they reprinted was black and white. They're black and white and toned. But someone toned it. I want to say it was like Tom Vincent, or it was like a colorist toned it.
It was Tone Loc,
It was Tone Loc. It was Funky Cole Medina. But I just thought it was so doing that
Funky
panel to
Cole,
panel.
Angel Medina.
They made they made very specific choices in that, and I was just getting. I think not all of them were the best, but some of them were good. But it was very specifically done per page per panel. So But that's it. That's it for the reviews day. I have to go make pancakes now, and my daddy's coming over soon. Papa Leone's coming over. So,
Sounds good. At Papa Leone, get us some
hey,
pancakes.
let's get some racism going. Let's get some Italian racism going. I guess we can't be Italian racist to each other. We probably could.
I'm
Um,
I'm not Italian.
mm,
People always forget that.
I know. I forget that.
You know what? It's just the way I look.
Yep. Well, we will stay tuned for more things coming.
Yeah,
Tell your friends to like and subscribe. You
we
know,
might get this out before Christmas. We
no,
had thoughts of doing a Christmas
maybe on
review, but like
Christmas.
we had thoughts. We
We
had
did
thoughts
have
about doing some
thoughts.
like what our favorite Christmas books are, but like we just
Christmas
didn't get.
roundups.
I mean, technically, I guess the only Christmas book was Ultimate Spider-Man, your choice of the week. That was a Christmas book.
Was barely a Christmas book. Had very
Um,
poor sweaters.
Briefly thinking about it, DC this year and last year did their Batman, Superman, Santa Claus crossover book, and it's a neat version of Santa Claus because he's like tough,
Mm,
and it's very funny because that was the covers were by Dan Mora, and Dan Mora drew the Grant Morrison Santa Claus book, Claus,
mhm. Right,
which
right.
which people should read that because it's I think there's a collection that collects both miniseries and the one shots,
Yeah, yeah.
but it almost feels like DC co-opted Grant Morrison's Santa Claus character.
Yeah, well, I guess they can, and then they're like, well, we hired Dan Mora, so we can just have Dan Mora draw it close to that. What are you gonna
Right.
do? You know what I mean? So, but no, you're right. Yeah, I never read that actually. I think I tried to read it, and I just didn't care. I don't know.
I
It's light fare,
Listen,
and
man.
I
Comic
wasn't pulled
reading
in.
is 50% the mood you're in. If
Yeah,
you're in a good mood, things are better. If you're in a shitty mood, things are garbage. And also the order. You could read two books that are great, but like one could sour you for the book after. If you're reading
let
like
me
you
tell
don't
you
want to read a
something.
real dense comic. Like
I
it's
read the Godzillas. I've been reading the stuff in order that I put it on my list. It's like alphabetical. I read them in order because I try to screenshot them as I'm reading them, right? So I'm reading them in order. But having those two Godzillas back to back was just the funnest. I was like, well, I'm really high off of Godzilla here. But if I read them interchangeably, they would have been equal. Like that's what's so fun. It's so fun getting that license and uh yeah, the IDW is doing the same thing with Turtles to a certain level too, is that you have different tones and different Turtles books and you're just capable of doing it. Totally fine doing it. So to have the two Godzillas back to back like that sounds good to me.
What's your favorite Christmas comic? Do you remember?
Uh, I'd say the Spider-Man Christmas comic. I would say
The
the
one
McFarlane.
was that 314, something like that,
Yeah,
where he get kicked or like it's like it deals with homeless issues, doesn't it?
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah. I
So
think that's it.
timely.
Yeah.
Homelessness never goes away, sadly.
Mm-mm.
I always have a penchant for that Lobo paramilitary Christmas special
Oh, I have that
because
signed by
I
everybody.
was I was the right age to where that book shocked me
Hmm.
because I hadn't really read any like R-rated comics at that point, and like the grossness and brutality and violence of that issue, I was like, oh, like it shocked me in a good way. Like I can't believe you can do this in a comic. Like I actually hadn't read the Lobo miniseries. I read that first. I
Yeah,
was just like,
I
holy
think that's
crap.
right. Did that come out before Lobo miniseries or no?
No, no, the
No.
first Lobo miniseries, and then the paramilitary, and then Lobo's back.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, I love that. I have that signed by Alan Grant and Bisley.
that's cool.
So that's really fun. That's really
Yeah,
fun. That's a
I think
forever.
the book that's close to that, I do like. Remember, Wizard did the Christmas cards, and Jim Lee did like a hot elf, and McFarlane did like Santa Todd because it's always got to be about Todd. And then
Santa Todd.
Liefeld won by doing Santa the Barbarian.
Oh, topical.
There's a topical.
I'll put that right there.
There's a one shot of that. I think Dan Fraga drew it. It's pretty good. And they had a
Oh my God, I
follow up.
forgot about that. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Santa the
And I think
Barbarian.
for a year or two, Liefeld put up Santa the Barbarian Christmas cards like he'd send out to his friends and family.
Oh,
In fact, let's pause on that for a second because I'm gonna try to find those images and send them to you to make you do this work. Santa
yes,
the
do the work.
Barbarian.
Yeah.
So
No, that's fine. That's welcome work. Yeah, and then just send it to my email and then I'll plop them in. So, all right, everybody. Well, we'll see you soon.
you
Stay
all have a
tuned.
great Christmas.
Hmm.
because doing reviews is not a evergreen podcast. The
No,
fact this review show is only really good for like a month, and then
no,
who cares? The next issues come out next month. And that's the great thing about comics. There's always the next month.
it's always next month. All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna hit the. What do I do here? I'm gonna hit the off button. I'm gonna hit the stop button.
You don't got to tell them that.
Okay, here we go.